Welcome back to another Save It for Parts unboxing slash mailbag video, the completely unorganized and untimely series where I open up boxes that people have sent to me. Now, this is something I continue to say that I do not actually encourage because my house is completely full of junk already. I mean, treasure. Definitely treasure. So I have a really hard time accepting more, but I also have a really hard time turning people down. So when somebody offers to send me something really cool, it's a bit of an internal conflict. I really should slow down on the incoming junk or treasure because I am absolutely getting stuff faster than I can possibly film it. Right now, I think I probably have at least a year's worth of weekly videos just on my to-do pile. That being said, let's look at new stuff I just got. And this includes some really big stuff, which I am quite worried about. I don't know where I'm going to put this. I also don't remember what it is because sometimes this stuff takes weeks or months to actually show up. So this is going to be a mystery to me, just like it is to you. So first up we have this from Sean in Texas. We'll get this open. Very filled with foam packing peanuts. Now these are the edible kind too. I don't recommend eating these, although it's very entertaining to watch them dissolve in water or your mouth. Don't eat packing peanuts. I might have to move this down off the desk to get in here. Or I can just move the desk down because it is a standing desk. Or a sitting desk. I had an offer to review one of these standing desks, and the company that tried to send it to me was a giant pain to work with, so I just went to IKEA and bought the cheapest standing desk I could find, and now it shows up in like every one of my videos. So yeah, that company that wanted to sponsor me and then screwed around with it, they really missed out. Anyway, let's see if we can get this unboxed without spilling these things everywhere. I'm sure these would be great cat toys, but I don't really want the cats playing with them. This looks like some kind of computer peripheral card. Oh, and there go the peanuts. Here's another computer card. Oh, this is just a nightmare of packing peanuts. I'm going to be finding these under the furniture for months when the cats get a hold of these. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we have a big, heavy thing here. This thing weighs like 20 pounds. And I've got an envelope, it looks like, as well as looks like a little ROM chip or something. I'm just gonna fish around in here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Hey, come back here. No. Already stealing these, naughty. All right, I had to banish the cats from the office, which is always sad because they love to help with these videos. Oh wow, so Sean sent me a long letter here describing what this is. So it's a Toshiba T3200, so yeah, about 22 pounds, luggable 286 laptop. So I just did a video on a 286 laptop, but yeah, this is another one. So we'll have to come back and do a full video on this because I will absolutely not have time to get to this anytime soon. And Sean has a 2-page letter here describing some of the things that this might need as far as if it's got any problems. So thank you, Sean. And he also threw in some extra stuff. So there's a math coprocessor, that's what this guy is, and some extra peripherals. I might actually give this to the person that I gave the Zenith 286 to because that did not have a math coprocessor, but here we have one, and I think this will work with that old Zenith. So I gave that to somebody else to play around with, but maybe I'll pass the chip along to them as well. Sean goes by Shawners98 on YouTube, so I will throw a link to him down in the description, and when we eventually get around to doing a full video on this, which I definitely will, I will mention him again. I just don't know how long it's going to be because my schedule, like my to-do pile, is pretty full. Look at this thing. This is awesome. This is one of those old laptops that just looks amazing. It'll crush you to death if you actually try to put it on your lap, but this thing looks cool, and I can't wait to play around with it. That's my other problem, is when people send me stuff, I'm so ADHD, I want to drop everything that I'm working on already and play with the new stuff like this, but I know I should set this aside and come back to it when I have more time to give it a really full investigation. I'm just going to leave the table down here because all of these are so big. This next one is from Luke in Colorado, and this might be another vintage computer. It definitely has that estate sale or thrift store smell, kind of like grandma mixed with dog, mixed with some old food. I'm not saying it's bad, it just definitely smells like old stuff. Okay, this is not a laptop. This is actually another satellite phone. So this is a Mitsubishi ST251 mobile terminal. We've got a handset here, and then this laptop looking thing is, I believe, actually the antenna. Oops, and I'm dropping parts off of it here. So this was sent by Luke, who runs the Nervous Mechanic YouTube channel. I'll put a link to him down in the description, and people can go check him out. Thank you, Luke. This thing looks awesome, and I'm going to give it a try whenever I get a chance. So this one is an international package from the UK that snuck through just before tariffs shut down international trade. It looks like it has been opened and inspected by US Customs, so it can't contain anything too crazy, right? And Customs did a really bad job of putting the package back together. It is half falling apart. Also, this came by DHL. Who knew DHL was still around? They made some big announcement a couple years back about completely pulling out of the US and we would never see them again, and now here they are delivering stuff in the US, and I'm always surprised to find out that they're still in business. All right, well, this is certainly an interesting creature. Wow, tons of ports on the back, mounting hardware, anti-tamper seals everywhere. Yeah, kind of military OD green. All right, it's another laptop, and this one is like the laptop that you use to launch nuclear missiles or something. This is massive. If I thought that that 22-pound Toshiba weighed a lot, this thing is like 40 pounds. This is fantastic. It's got an old trackball. It's got random buttons that aren't even labeled. It has not one, but 2 Windows keys. I feel like this is the Windows laptop from the South Park movie.
Fucking Windows 98! Get Bill Gates in here!
Oh, wow, and this keyboard lifts out. And wow, so you can use the keyboard completely separately from the main terminal here. It does have lights for a battery, so apparently this is a laptop with an internal battery. And I am loving the port protectors back here. These are fantastic. So you probably guessed it, this is going to have to be a completely separate video just focusing on this computer. So huge thank you to Rob from the UK. This thing looks amazing. And again, I am going to have to resist the ADHD urge to drop everything else I'm doing and play with this, because I want to play with this right now. As if that weren't enough, this package is also from Rob in the UK and weighs even more than the last one. I'm kind of surprised that last one made it through customs. It looks like it should be at Cheyenne Mountain running the Stargate program. It looks like customs didn't even bother opening this one. All right, so this looks like a radio, and it's obviously military issue. It is big, heavy, beefy enough. This is when you run out of bombs in the Air Force, you just start throwing these out of the plane and they cause just as much damage. This is something, you guessed it, it's going to have to be a future video. And I love the controls on this. Look how cool that is. Coincidentally, I just got a CF card to IDE adapter that viewer Matt Parker recommended, so thank you, Matt. I will be using this probably on some kind of vintage computer in the future, just to trick it into thinking it has a hard drive when it really just has an SD card or a CF card. Some of these folks must have cats, because I let the cats back in the office and they are all over this new stuff, so it has some really cool smells. All right, we have another random package. I don't remember ordering this, so I'm not sure what it is. Okay. It looks like this might be a radio sonde from Finland, or basically the electronic part of a weather balloon. And this thing is new in package. It's never been opened, which I guess makes sense because a lot of times these are disposable. This might be fun to play with. I do have some weather balloons. I don't have any helium at the moment, but I don't actually know what the legality is of sending up your own, but that could be kind of fun to play around with. This came from viewer Rob, who was on my Discord, and that took me like an hour to figure out because I dimly remembered somebody had sent me this. Discord is terrible for searching. I really hate that you can't just search across all servers, all DMs. I'm on 10 different servers. I don't even have time for my own Discord server. And then I get probably a dozen direct messages every week or more. So I have hundreds of direct messages, and it took forever to find who sent me this. So thank you, Rob. And Discord admins, if you are a Discord developer, please add a global search option to the website so I can find stuff. We have another Axeman treasure, the self-contained selfie studio. Perfect for vlogging, social media, or live streaming. I've actually done a live stream semi-recently where I did kind of a Q&A thing, and it could have gone better. There were some technical issues. It was better than my first few live streams, but I figured something like this with a little ring light and a camera mount might help for future live streaming events. All right, now this one might be a first. This is overseas military or diplomatic mail from Kwajalein Atoll. I'm probably mangling the pronunciation on that. I have heard of that place because they launch rockets from there. And yeah, Got some interesting little notes on it here. So this is from viewer Kurt. Thank you, Kurt. I think I remember what he said he was going to send, and it says on the package here, it's got like tariff labels and whatnot. So let's take a look here. So apparently these are something that wash up on the beach over there fairly frequently, because Kurt said he's found a few of these. It's a fishing satellite beacon. So it's a little solar powered unit. It's got a satellite antenna. It actually has an iridium chip here, so this has a satellite uplink on it. This is not the whole thing. Apparently it comes with quite a big battery, which he didn't think he could ship through the mail because it has to go from airmail. It's an island, they don't have ground shipping. So he wasn't able to ship the battery, but the rest of this is pretty interesting, and I think we could probably figure out how to power this. So this is something I'm going to try to look up and see what we can do with. Apparently it's for tracking fishing gear, so you attach this to your net or your line. Then you know where your fishing gear is. When I fished up in Alaska, we definitely could not afford anything like this, and we didn't have unintended fishing gear just drifting around. We did trolling, so our fishing gear was always attached to the boat, but for drift nets, things like that, I could see this being useful. Anyway, we're going to check this out in a future video. Thank you again, Kurt, and yeah, stay tuned to see if we can do anything with this. And sorry, this is not a satellite antenna. I think this is actually a transducer. So this is actually a depth finder or fish finder. So this thing not only tells you where your net is, apparently it tells you how deep it is or how many fish are in it. So that's kind of neat. I picked up a couple interesting mobile radios at Axeman recently. I'm gonna have to play with those at some point. And then I picked up this thing, which I am very amused by the name. Yeah, that name sounds a little R-rated, but apparently this is some kind of interesting satellite meter, satellite TV installation thing. We'll have to play with that when we get a chance. I also recently picked up a couple of these guys. These are sound-powered ship telephones. I grew up with something like this when I was a kid. We had U.S. Army field phones between different houses in the town I grew up in. And these are similar. They have an AC ringer and then basically a DC sound-powered voice circuit that could be amplified with a couple D batteries. I don't think these have the battery amplification. I assume you just have to scream into them, but they were only for use within a ship and not over many miles in a town or an army camp. So anyway, we're going to play with those at some point. Maybe we can hook them up to my other phones and we'll just have to see what this does. So this next one is actually something that I bought, and it was a pretty big expense, about $1,000, but this is going to be a big investment in the channel itself. That's right, I actually bought a brand new camcorder. I think this is the first new camera that I have bought in decades. Usually I'm using secondhand stuff. In fact, the camera that I'm using now is still one that the Garden Fork channel sent to me. And this is actually the exact same platform, or it's supposed to be. This is the upgraded version of the camera I'm using right now. I'm using the G30. This is the G70 from Canon. And this brings us some newfangled stuff like 4K. We can do live streaming. We can do all kinds of interesting things with this that my old cameras cannot do. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I think this is going to really up my game on the YouTube channel, because we'll finally be in 4K for all the people who bother watching 4K stuff. And I got a whole bunch of accessories. Another microphone. I have actually broken a couple of the on-camera microphones, or they're fuzzy rabbit microphones that clip onto the top. So always nice to have another one of those. We have a light, so I can actually improve some of my lighting conditions, hopefully. People occasionally complain that my lighting in here is no good, or the color temperature is wrong, or the light balance is bad. Well, yeah, we've got some more light options. Extra lenses. So this has a pretty big zoom on it already, just like my old camera, but now we've got an additional telephoto lens that will screw onto the outside. And some filters, if I can remember how filters work. I usually keep my cameras in these Pelican cases because they're much more shock resistant, water resistant. They float if I'm out boating around the camera. I can drop this in the lake and hopefully it'll keep everything okay. So I probably won't use the actual camera bag much. I might recycle this Pelican case for the new camera. This one is set up for my old Canon G30, and the G70 should be all the same size. I also got one of these things. I don't really remember what these are for, but we've got one now. So these are basically the same camera. This is my old one, obviously, the one that's much more beat up and smashed and has all the accessory covers kind of hanging off. Now, the only thing that I'm seeing that I don't like about the new one is that they've gotten rid of the hot shoe back here. I had to take this cover off to see if they had hidden it, but it seems like it's just gone. So that is where I put my fuzzy rabbit mic. It has this little fancy Canon connector, and yeah, they seem to have done away with that hot shoe. So it's got the regular cold shoe here for mics and lights. The old one was nice because you could do both a mic and a light if you wanted. And then you didn't have to have an extra cable going down to the mic input. This one, the mic that they sent, it's a wired one, so you have to have this extra thing hanging off, extra things to get tangled when you're running around using it. Here's the new camera, the cheap mic that it came with. Alright, so this thing is completely unusable. This mic, this is trash. Don't buy this brand because that's literally garbage. Maybe this is the reason for me to upgrade to a wireless lapel mic. Alright, one new mystery package today. So I think what these do is convert Ethernet to TV cable, so you can actually run a modern internet connection over old-style television coax. So this is going to be handy for things like my tailgater and Winegard satellite dishes, where I've got coax inputs that go through the center of rotation on those little satellite dishes, but it's kind of hard to get USB or Ethernet connected up to those. I've tried playing around with wireless, and that doesn't always work because sometimes the wireless interferes with the radio signals that I'm trying to look at on the satellite dish. So having something like this is pretty cool. So thank you to viewer Jeremy for sending me these. I will be playing around with these in some future video with one of the miniature radio telescopes. Alright, that is all I have for that one, so I'm going to wrap this video up. I will be showing some of these items in future upcoming videos, and depending when this video comes out, you may have already seen one or two of these things in videos already. I'm always a little bit disorganized when things come out. I'm also a little bit disorganized with my Patreon credits at the end here, so I do apologize to any of the folks who have missed being in prior videos. If you are a $10 or $20 a month Patreon supporter, I will throw your name over here in the credits. These folks here, along with the $5 a month supporters, are the ones who help me afford new equipment like that brand new camera. So once I get a little more familiar with that new camera and get the audio figured out, these are the folks that you have to thank for that higher quality video in the future. If you'd like to join my Patreon and help support the channel, for $10 or $20 a month, you get to show up over here, and for $5 a month and up, you get to see my videos a week early. So that's always a fun little preview, and sometimes you even get to see stuff that doesn't show up on YouTube at all. Finally, thank you to everyone out there for watching, and we'll see you next time.